Hey guys, tonight we dive into the history of the first toilet paper. Can you imagine life without it? Well, there was once a time when wiping wasn't as simple as grabbing a roll of soft, fluffy paper. Nope. It involved a variety of materials that would probably make you squirm a little, and not in the good way. But don't worry. You probably won't survive this trip through the history of hygiene if you're too squeamish. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, why not drop a comment with your location and local time? I'm curious where in the world you're tuning in from. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Grab your imaginary toilet paper and let's get started. We've all been there. You know, that moment of discomfort when you realize you're out of toilet paper and the only option is to get creative. But imagine a world where that was your only option. No soft rolls, no luxury wipes. Well, let's take a trip back and see how humans managed. A good place to start. The very beginning of it all. The first humans. Long before anyone thought of mass-producing toilet paper, had to figure out their own solutions. And that was no easy feat. Hygiene, in ancient times, was far more about practicality than comfort. Picture it, ancient people crouching, using leaves, water, stones, or even animal fur to clean themselves. Not exactly the soft, pampered experience we enjoy today, right? It's strange to think about, but there was once a time when nature provided what people needed most. Whether that meant grabbing a handful of soft leaves or a smooth stone from the river. Just imagine being in the wild, unsure of what you'd find to help with a basic need. It wasn't until later that we got any sort of refined solutions. But before that, nature was the ultimate bathroom supply store. As we step into the past, let's get a glimpse of how ancient civilizations handled this not-so-glamorous task. Civilizations like the Egyptians were way ahead of the game, though they probably didn't know just how crucial their hygiene habits would turn out to be. They were amongst the first to think about cleanliness in a way that resembled what we'd consider modern today. But instead of reaching for a roll of toilet paper, they turned to papyrus. Yes, the very same stuff used for writing scrolls. You can't make this up, right? The Egyptians would tear off a strip of papyrus and use it as a rudimentary cleaning material. So, in a way, the early toilet paper we know today was born from the same place as their wisdom about writing and record-keeping. Historians still argue whether it was a widespread practice or just a few elites using the papyrus, but there's no denying it. Early civilizations started thinking about hygiene in ways that would eventually lead to more sophisticated solutions. Imagine having your name written in history on papyrus and also using it for, well, something not quite so royal. Maybe that's why the Egyptians were such big proponents of cleanliness. They believed in the importance of looking after the body just as much as the soul. But let's not get too carried away with ancient Egypt. After all, not every civilization was so fancy about their hygiene habits. Let's talk about the Romans. Now, these folks had a different approach. You probably know about Roman baths and public latrines, spectacular in design. But the methods of cleaning themselves, well, that's a whole other story. The Romans, in their wisdom, decided to use a sponge on a stick. Yes, you heard that right. They would dip it in water, use it, and then wash it off for the next person. It's said that they even used communal sponges in their public latrines, which might make you feel a little less grateful for the privacy and comfort of your own bathroom today. Still, credit to the Romans. They were quite advanced with their public facilities and had systems in place that many people, even today, could learn from. You can only imagine what a day at the Roman baths might have felt like. Luxurious for some, maybe, but for others, the discomfort of sharing a sponge could hardly be called refreshing. Historians still argue whether the Romans had any real personal hygiene habits outside of these public settings. But you can bet your bottom dollar that it was worlds away from the softness we now expect. Let's continue our journey, and now we're hopping from Rome to the distant reaches of ancient China, where a much more refined approach to personal hygiene began to emerge, though not in the way we might think. Here, toilet paper. As we know, it wasn't quite on the horizon, but its distant ancestor was being used centuries earlier than you'd expect. In the 6th century, Chinese aristocrats were already experimenting with paper products in the bathroom. Yes, that's right, before anyone in the Western world had even thought about using paper for anything other than writing. The Chinese were already perfecting the art of wiping. Now, the first recorded mention of toilet paper in China is from the 9th century, during the Tang Dynasty. These early papers weren't the soft, fluffy rolls we enjoy today, but a basic, somewhat coarse version used primarily by the wealthy. Regular people, well, they were still stuck with leaves, grass, or whatever they could find in nature. But for the elite, they had access to a much softer material paper that was thicker and smoother than you might expect for such an early era. Historians still argue over whether this paper was really toilet paper or just general-purpose paper used for cleaning. But, in essence, this was the moment in history when paper, a revolutionary material, stepped up to the plate in the world of hygiene. China's use of paper in everyday life grew over the years, with toilet paper eventually becoming more commonplace during the Yuan dynasty, 1271 to 1368. By the time of the Ming dynasty, 1368 to 1644, toilet paper was being mass-produced for the rich, and it was even scented. Yes, scented toilet paper. Imagine that. The Chinese were already ahead of the game, making the whole wiping experience a little more pleasant with the addition of aromatic fragrances. Who knew that luxury toilet paper, as we know it today, has such ancient roots? But the real kicker comes from the history of the world's first patent for toilet paper, which was not filed in China. So, let's shift gears again and head toward the 19th century, where a new kind of toilet paper, one that was more recognizable to us, was about to make its debut. As we leave behind the ancient world of China, let's fast forward a few centuries to the 19th century, a time of immense change in the Western world, and a time when toilet paper began to take its modern form. Up until this point, people in Europe and the Americas had to make do with a variety of materials for their personal hygiene leaves: corn cobs, stones, rags, and even newspaper. You can imagine the discomfort that came with those less than ideal options. But by the mid-1800s, the world was on the brink of something revolutionary in the bathroom industry, and it all came down to one man's decision to improve something as mundane as wiping. That man was Joseph Gaiety, an American inventor who is widely credited with creating the first commercially available toilet paper in 1857. His version was a far cry from the soft, quilted, multi-ply rolls we have today. Gaiety's toilet paper was sold in flat sheets, medicated with aloe for a soothing touch. It was marketed as a therapeutic product, not just a hygiene product. In fact, Gaiety even printed his name on each sheet of toilet paper, perhaps thinking that his invention would become a household name, or at least a staple in the bathroom. But it didn't quite catch on the way he hoped, mostly because his version wasn't exactly the most convenient for people to use. The sheets came in packages of 500, and people still preferred using whatever materials they had on hand. Historians still argue whether Gaiety's invention was the true beginning of toilet paper as we know it, or if other similar ideas had been in circulation before his patent. The question remains. But one thing is certain. Gaiety laid the groundwork for the future of the bathroom industry. His name might not be as well known as it should be, but his innovation paved the way for the more accessible, softer toilet paper that would eventually sweep across the world. It wasn't until a few years later, in 1871, that a company called the Scott Paper Company began mass-producing toilet paper rolls, a move that made the product far more convenient and popular. Now, toilet paper was no longer just a luxury item for the wealthy, and it soon became a staple in bathrooms across the globe. The introduction of perforated rolls further improved convenience and usability, making it easier to tear off exactly the right amount every time. As the world began to adjust to the convenience of toilet paper, things took another turn in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The Scott Paper Company's roll-based format wasn't just a simple improvement. It transformed the bathroom experience. Now, you didn't have to fuss with tearing off sheets one by one or dealing with awkward alternatives. The soft, easily tearable, and perforated roll became the new standard. And while it wasn't the fluffy, double-ply version we use today, it was certainly a step up from leaves or stones. But let's not get too comfortable, because just like any major invention, the development of toilet paper was about to hit a few snakes. You see, the first commercially available toilet paper wasn't exactly soft. There were complaints that it was too rough for comfort, a far cry from the cushy, cloud-like experience we now expect. Early toilet paper had a tendency to leave something to be desired in the comfort department, and that's something that manufacturers would have to keep in mind as the decades wore on. Historians still argue whether the roughness of early toilet paper was actually a result of its mass production techniques, or if it was simply a product of the era's industrial mindset, which was focused more on functionality than luxury. The soft, gentle experience we have today, well, that took time and a lot of experimenting. As the 20th century rolled in, manufacturers began to realize that softness was key. The public wanted their toilet paper not just functional, but comfortable. Enter the 1920s, a game changer for toilet paper. In this period, many manufacturers began experimenting with the texture and ply of their rolls by adding more layers. Toilet paper became noticeably softer, and consumers began to appreciate the luxurious feel of a well-made roll. But we're still not at the cushy, multi-ply paradise that we're used to today. It wasn't until the 1940s that toilet paper manufacturers really started hitting their stride, introducing thick toilet paper that was still affordable and functional. The 1940s also brought in the introduction of luxury toilet paper, scented, printed, and more comfortable than ever. This marked the beginning of the real transformation of toilet paper into the modern-day product we know and love, or at least take for granted. By this time, toilet paper had moved well beyond its humble origins as a luxury for the rich, and had become a household necessity for nearly everyone. The development of more advanced mass production techniques and the introduction of machines that could perforate, roll, and package toilet paper faster and more efficiently led to its widespread availability. The growth of marketing campaigns, along with the rise of consumerism in the mid-20th century, further cemented toilet paper's status as an essential part of everyday life. As we approach the mid-20th century, toilet paper was no longer just a commodity. It had become a part of the very fabric of modern life. People were no longer questioning the need for it. Instead, they were focusing on how much better it could get. And get better it did. The race for softness, durability, and luxury intensified, with companies introducing new technologies to make toilet paper more appealing to the consumer. This wasn't just about wiping anymore. It was about experience, comfort, and a little bit of luxury in the most unexpected place. The invention of quilted toilet paper was one of the major breakthroughs of the 1950s. You may think it's a small thing, but trust me, it was a game changer. The quilted texture made toilet paper not only softer, but stronger. Two factors that mattered a lot more than you'd expect in a product designed to do its job quickly and efficiently. The added texture gave it a premium feel, and as advertisements began to boast about the luxurious experience of using toilet paper, people began to notice and demand it. But remember, as with all innovations, it wasn't a simple and smooth ride. The public remained somewhat skeptical about paying more for a product they had used for so long in such a simple form. A lot of companies had to learn how to balance quality and affordability to win over consumers. Meanwhile, companies like Charmin, which had already made its mark with soft, premium products, helped establish the golden age of marketing for toilet paper. Iconic characters like the Charmin, Strong Bear, appeared on TV and made their way into commercials, reinforcing the idea that toilet paper could be both durable and indulgent. Softness was no longer just about softness. It was part of a lifestyle. Marketing campaigns didn't just sell a product. They sold the feeling of comfort and care. And by the 1960s and 1970s, toilet paper had gone beyond simple hygiene. People started talking about it in the same way they talked about home decor and luxury products. Historians still argue whether the rise of advertising truly elevated the importance of toilet paper, or if the shift towards more comfortable and convenient bathroom products was an inevitable response to an increasingly consumer-driven society. Either way, the transformation was unmistakable. Toilet paper was now a well-established part of daily life, a luxury that people were willing to invest in. But what about the rest of the world? While the Western world was getting accustomed to plush, multi-ply toilet paper, there were still vast areas where such luxuries didn't exist or weren't even available. As we approach the 21st century, the importance of sustainability started creeping into the conversation. Consumers began to ask, how can we enjoy our soft, multi-ply rolls without feeling guilty about the environmental impact? A new era began, one where toilet paper was no longer just about comfort and luxury. It was about responsibility, too. The concept of eco-friendly toilet paper started to take off, with brands promoting recycled paper and sustainable practices. Toilet paper, it seemed, was evolving into something even more essential than before. Not only did it need to be sought, but it needed to be good for the planet. As the 21st century continued to unfold, it brought with it a shift in consciousness that affected not just the products we use, but the way we think about them. Toilet paper, once a simple commodity, had now become a focal point in the conversation about sustainability and environmental impact. While people still sought comfort and luxury in their bathroom experience, they also started asking tougher questions about the impact of their choices on the planet. What was toilet paper doing to the environment? How much waste was generated by the vast production of single-use bathroom products? Could there be a way to have it all luxury, comfort, and sustainability in response? Some brands began exploring alternatives to traditional toilet paper, ushering in a wave of eco-friendly innovation. Recycled toilet paper, often touted as the environmentally responsible choice became increasingly popular. This version was made from post-consumer waste, reducing the need for virgin paper and helping conserve forests. At the same time, many companies started offering products made from bamboo, an alternative that grew rapidly and naturally without the need for fertilizers or pesticides, making it an appealing choice for the eco-conscious consumer. These advancements were a major step toward reducing the carbon footprint of toilet paper, but they also introduced a new set of challenges. It turns out that the shift toward more sustainable materials wasn't as simple as it sounded. Bamboo, for example, may grow fast and require fewer chemicals, but it's not always easy to process into a soft and comfortable product. Many eco-friendly toilet papers still had to contend with the age-old dilemma. How do you balance softness and durability while also being environmentally responsible? The process of making toilet paper soft through bleaching, rolling, and layering was a tough challenge to overcome without increasing the environmental impact. Still, by the late 2000s, there was a genuine effort within the industry to move toward more sustainable practices, and consumer demand for green options only increased as the environmental movement gained strength. Historians still debate whether the growth of sustainable toilet paper was truly driven by consumer demand or simply by a need for companies to align with the growing push toward environmentalism. Whatever the case, the rise of eco-friendly toilet paper has become a significant part of the broader sustainability movement. It's no longer just about comfort. It's about making an ethical choice, even when it comes to something as mundane as the bathroom. And as more brands emerge with plant-based, recycled, and even compostable toilet paper options, the question remains, is there a perfect balance between comfort, sustainability, and price? To add another layer to the conversation, some companies have ventured into the territory of reusable toilet paper. Yes, you read that right. These are often cloth-like materials designed to be washed and reused, reducing single-use waste even further. While this option hasn't taken the world by storm yet, it's a testament to the ever-evolving way in which people are thinking about their bathroom habits. The future of toilet paper is still unfolding, and who knows where we'll be in the next few decades. It's possible that innovations we can't even imagine yet will further change the way we think about something so seemingly simple. As the sustainability conversation continued to evolve, toilet paper companies found themselves at a crossroads, not just in terms of materials, but also in consumer expectations. People wanted eco-friendly options, yes, but they also demanded the same level of comfort they had become accustomed to over the past century. After all, the luxury of soft, quilted, and absorbent toilet paper had become so ingrained in our daily lives that moving backward in terms of comfort was simply not an option. So, how could the industry reconcile the need for comfort with the push for sustainability? The answer was in the growing trend of innovation. companies began investing in new manufacturing techniques that made eco-friendly toilet paper softer and more durable without sacrificing the planet. To accomplish this, researchers and manufacturers experimented with different forms of processing and refining. In particular, the introduction of tree-free toilet paper options caught the public's eye. These alternatives, made from materials like bamboo, sugarcane, or hemp, provided a softer experience while avoiding the deforestation issues associated with traditional paper production. These materials grew faster and didn't require the same level of water or pesticides as conventional wood sources, making them an appealing option for the environmentally conscious. The shift toward tree-free toilet paper was a direct response to deforestation concerns and the environmental impact of paper products. It also tapped into a larger movement toward reducing the overall consumption of paper and its harmful effects on the planet. However, the adoption of these new materials didn't come without controversy. Many people were reluctant to abandon their beloved, thick, plush toilet paper for something that seemed unfamiliar, or perhaps a bit too alternative. Bamboo, for instance, is a much more ferrous material than traditional wood pulp, and early versions of bamboo-based toilet paper were often criticized for being too rough. Some skeptics even argued that it wouldn't be as comfortable as the soft, multi-ply brands they had grown accustomed to. But as with any new innovations, the more time passed, the better the product became. Toilet paper, made from bamboo or hemp, started to feel softer. And with advances in production techniques, it also became stronger and more durable. Still, the question remains, as toilet paper continues to evolve, what is the true future of toilet paper? Will we one day see a toilet paper made entirely from algae, seaweed, or other natural, biodegradable materials? Will it become a luxury product for the wealthy and a more basic necessity for the rest of us? And how will we handle the challenges of balancing luxury, comfort, and sustainability as demand for greener products continues to grow? In the meantime, the basic act of using toilet paper remains much the same as it has been for decades. Whether you prefer the smooth, ultra-soft rolls or the environmentally friendly versions made from bamboo, the function remains the same. But with every new innovation, we're left with questions about what comes next. Is the future of toilet paper paperless altogether? Can we imagine a world where technology, instead of paper, provides an even more hygienic and environmentally friendly alternative? While we don't know for sure what lies ahead, it's clear that the evolution of toilet paper is not just about the product itself, but about the way we think about our world, our resources, and the way we use them. The idea of going paperless in the bathroom might seem like something from a futuristic sci-fi movie, but in the realm of modern hygiene, it's not entirely out of the question. As more people begin to recognize the environmental impact of single-use paper products, the conversation has turned toward alternatives that go beyond simply using greener versions of toilet paper. Could technology be the future of bathroom hygiene? It's a question that might be more pertinent than you think. Innovations like bidets, water-based cleaning systems, and even high-tech wipes have already started to emerge as viable options for those looking to reduce their reliance on toilet paper. Bidets, for example, have been a standard feature in many parts of the world, especially in Europe and Asia. For decades, while often seen as luxurious, bidets are an excellent example of how technology has already altered our approach to bathroom hygiene. Instead of wiping, users simply use a gentle stream of water to cleanse themselves, leaving no paper waste behind. With rising environmental concerns, bidets have seen an increase in popularity, particularly in North America. Modern versions even come equipped with heated seats, adjustable water pressure, and self-cleaning features. For many, the transition to bidets seems like a step in the right direction, offering both comfort and sustainability. But here's the kicker. Adoption is still slow. Despite their environmental benefits, many people remain attached to their trusty toilet paper rolls. Some might argue that the bidet is simply a step too far for personal comfort, while others point out that bidets can be expensive to install. Still, as more companies roll out budget-friendly versions of bidets that can be installed onto existing toilets, it's clear that the convenience of water-based cleaning may eventually eclipse traditional paper products. And then there are the so-called wet wipes, which have entered the conversation in recent years, aimed at providing a more luxurious and thorough cleaning experience. Wet wipes were marketed as an environmentally friendly alternative to toilet paper. The idea was simple: a soft, moist wipe for a fresh, clean feeling. Unfortunately, the widespread use of wet wipes has created a new set of problems, namely in terms of waste management. Many wet wipes, even those marketed as flushable, contribute to plumbing and environmental issues, clogging pipes and causing problems in sewage systems. So, while wet wipes might provide a more thorough clean, they come with their own set of complications. Historians still debate whether water-based solutions like bidets or the continued use of wet wipes will fully replace toilet paper, or if there will always be a balance between technological solutions and the comfort of good old toilet paper. No one knows for sure whether we'll eventually trade our roles for high-tech alternatives, but the shift in how we view hygiene is undeniable. At the same time, as demand for eco-friendly products grows, many companies have begun to incorporate alternative materials into their manufacturing processes, such as plant-based fibers, hemp, and bamboo. These materials aren't just better for the environment, they also add a unique texture to toilet paper. Whether or not they can ever replace the traditional paper we know and love is still up in the air. But it's clear that the future of toilet paper isn't just about softness and ply. The industry is becoming more conscious of its impact on the planet, making sure that comfort doesn't come at the expense of the environment. It's strange to think about how far toilet paper has come. What started as crude leaves, papyrus, and stones has now become a multi-billion-dollar industry, with dozens of brands competing for our attention and loyalty. But that's the nature of innovation, isn't it? Every product evolves, and sometimes that evolution leads us to a place where we're confronted with questions we never thought to ask before. As we look to the future, perhaps the greatest change we'll see isn't in how or strong our toilet paper is, but in how we adapt to the challenges of living sustainably in an ever-changing world. As we dive deeper into the future of toilet paper, it's impossible to ignore the ever-growing focus on sustainability. As consumers, we're more conscious than ever about how the products we use affect the environment. This includes the one item that no one really thinks about until it's out of stock: toilet paper. But with the planet in mind, there's an increasing interest in alternatives that leave a lighter ecological footprint. One of the most promising alternatives comes from the rising popularity of bamboo toilet paper. Bamboo is not only eco-friendly, but it's also incredibly fast-growing, making it a much more sustainable option compared to traditional trees used for paper. Unlike trees, bamboo grows in a matter of months rather than decades, making it a renewable resource with minimal impact on forests. The transition to bamboo in toilet paper production is already being embraced by a growing number of brands. Bamboo toilet paper is softer than you might imagine, and it's strong, too. However, there are still some challenges to overcome. Despite its rapid growth, bamboo production has its own set of environmental concerns. For example, bamboo requires a lot of water to grow, and the process of turning bamboo into soft toilet paper isn't as simple as just harvesting it. Some companies have focused on making sure their bamboo toilet paper is processed in a way that is both sustainable and efficient, with minimal impact on the environment. But again, this doesn't come without its own trade-offs. As with any rapidly growing market, there is a balance between the desire for something that's environmentally friendly and the practicalities of mass production. Hemp. Toilet paper is another material that has been gaining ground in the eco-friendly market. Hemp, like bamboo, is a fast-growing plant and can be harvested multiple times a year. Not only is it highly sustainable, but it also uses far fewer pesticides and chemicals compared to traditional paper production. Hemp has also been celebrated for its low water requirements compared to trees or bamboo. It's a win-win situation, right? But the challenge here is similar to bamboo. Hemp toilet paper still needs to be processed in a way that makes it absorbent, and let's be honest, comfortable. And the manufacturing processes involved can often offset some of its environmental benefits. Historians and industry experts still argue over which of these materials is truly the most sustainable, with some pointing out that materials like hemp and bamboo can only go so far if the manufacturing processes aren't optimized. Still, the general consensus is that these innovations are a huge step in the right direction. If the demand for eco-friendly toilet paper continues to rise, it's likely that even more sustainable and efficient methods will emerge in the coming decades. But here's a quirky thought. What if we're looking at all of this in the wrong way? Maybe the future of bathroom hygiene isn't about paper at all. Maybe the ultimate goal is to eliminate paper entirely. You've heard of bidets, of course. But did you know that there's growing interest in washable or reusable toilet paper? Yes, these are exactly what they sound like. Cloth materials that are designed to be washed, reused, and cleaned after every use. While this concept might sound a little extreme to many, it's already being used by a small group of eco-conscious people who are looking to radically reduce their environmental footprint. The process involves using cloths made from soft materials, like cotton or bamboo fabric, which can be stored in a container for easy access and then washed once used. It's certainly an alternative to the traditional roll, and it cuts down on paper waste entirely. Of course, the idea of reusing toilet paper is still controversial for many, and there are practical barriers. How do you store the used cloths? How do you sanitize them effectively? Yet, as with all things in the world of innovation, the idea persists. In some cultures, reusable cloths are used out of necessity, and even in modern times, there's a growing trend of individuals opting for this choice as part of a broader move toward sustainability. The thought of ditching toilet paper altogether might still seem a bit too much for some, but it's an idea that's gaining traction in certain eco-conscious communities as we look toward the future. It's clear that the evolution of toilet paper is far from over. While some might imagine a day when toilet paper will be entirely replaced, others are focused on improving the product in ways that honor both our comfort and the planet. Who knows? Maybe there's a new technology or material out there just waiting to revolutionize our bathroom routines. Once again, as we approach the final stretch of our toilet paper journey, it's important to step back and appreciate just how much toilet paper has evolved, not only in terms of materials, but also in how it's presented and used. After all, once you've got a comfortable, eco-friendly product, what's left to improve, right? Well, it turns out quite a bit. One of the most recent and unexpected trends in the world of toilet paper involves luxury and indulgence. Yes, you heard me right. It seems that toilet paper isn't just a basic necessity anymore. It's becoming a statement of luxury, comfort, and even a symbol of personal care. This shift toward luxurious toilet paper began to gain traction in the early 2000s, with brands offering multi-ply rolls, extra soft textures, and even specialized designs, such as quilted patterns or embossed prints. But it didn't stop there. High-end brands began offering toilet paper that was scented, colored, and even designed with intricate patterns, making the bathroom experience seem like something straight out of a luxury hotel. If you've ever walked down the toilet paper aisle in a store and felt overwhelmed by the sheer variety, you're not alone. The premium products on the market today have reached an almost absurd level of extravagance, with some rolls even scented with lavender or rose petals. Now, why would anyone go to such lengths to create luxurious toilet paper? Is it really necessary? Well, historians and market experts still debate whether this rise in luxury toilet paper is truly consumer-driven, or if it's just clever marketing. Toilet paper companies have become so adept at creating desirable bathroom experiences that they've convinced many consumers that this once humble item should be treated as a luxury. Think about it. Toilet paper is something we use every day. Why not make it an indulgence? After all, if you're spending time and money on other comforts, like premium bed sheets or candles, why not extend that same pampering to your bathroom experience? Despite the lavish additions, some consumers still prefer simplicity over luxury. A significant portion of the population continues to purchase no-frills, basic toilet paper, while others see premium toilet paper as a treat or a sign of self-care. This divergence in the market has caused a divide between budget brands and the increasingly sophisticated high-end toilet paper lines. A simple sheet of toilet paper might be the same product, but what it represents has dramatically shifted as brands develop softer, stronger, and more lavish rolls. The question emerges: do we really need all this luxury, or is it just a well-packaged indulgence beyond just softness and scent? Companies are now even marketing their toilet paper as a way to reduce waste in more subtle ways, claiming that their thicker, more absorbent sheets lead to less waste overall. Theoretically, if one sheet of toilet paper can do the job of multiple thinner sheets, then that would mean less paper usage in the long run. This marketing twist blends sustainability with luxury, a clever way to cater to the modern consumer's desire for eco-friendly products without sacrificing comfort. And yet, even with these indulgent advancements, some countries still struggle to provide their populations with access to something as basic as toilet paper. For many, the idea of luxury toilet paper is simply out of reach, while for others, the conversation remains centered on affordability and practicality. This discrepancy highlights a broader issue in the world of hygiene products: the uneven distribution of comfort. In many parts of the world, people are still relying on the same materials used centuries ago, such as leaves or cloth, or they simply do without altogether. This stark contrast between the luxury toilet paper industry in developed countries and the lack of access to even basic bathroom supplies in others is something we should all be more aware of. Historians still argue whether the focus on luxury toilet paper is a sign of overconsumption in the modern world or a genuine shift in consumer desires. Whatever the case may be, there's no denying that the toilet paper industry has undergone an incredible transformation from a humble necessity to a cultural icon of comfort, sustainability, and even luxury. As we move into the current era, it's clear that toilet paper isn't just about hygiene anymore. It's about convenience, luxury, and even our evolving relationship with sustainability. The industry has grown so much that we've reached a point where the average consumer is presented with a multitude of choices when they walk into a store. So many options, in fact, that it can be overwhelming. You've got your ultra-soft brands, the green recycled options, the eco-friendly bamboo rolls, and even toilet paper with essential oils infused to help calm you down. All these options raise a question. How did we get here? And will the future continue to push toilet paper into new and even stranger territories? Let's start with ultra-soft toilet paper. We've all experienced that moment of joy when we unroll a new roll and feel the silky softness of the paper against our skin. But is it really as daunting as the brands claim to create ultra-soft toilet paper? Manufacturers often employ processes that involve multiple layers of paper, sometimes as many as 3 or 4 gauze. These layers are carefully bonded together using various chemicals to ensure they remain soft and durable. The comfort is undeniable, but the question of whether the resources used to create such a product are truly worth it is something to consider. Is it sustainable? Probably not as much as it could be. One trend that's been growing in recent years is the sustainable luxury toilet paper market. No longer are eco-friendly products just about reducing waste. They've become about creating products that can stand alongside the plush luxury versions in terms of comfort, softness, and performance. Eco-friendly brands have emerged, offering toilet paper made from bamboo, hemp, or recycled materials, and they were working hard to make sure that their paper is just as soft, durable, and effective as the more traditional, non-eco options. This marriage of sustainability and comfort has proven to be a big hit with a certain group of environmentally conscious consumers who want to keep their comfort levels high while minimizing their environmental footprint. These sustainable luxury toilet papers come with a hefty price tag, but for some, they're worth the cost. Imagine paying extra for your toilet paper because it's made from bamboo or recycled materials that leave a smaller environmental footprint. The brands know exactly how to market this. Guilt-free luxury. They say you can have the comfort you desire without the environmental guilt. Of course, as with all things marketed as luxury, there's a lot of debate about whether the added price is worth it for the consumer. Is the difference in quality really noticeable, or is it more about feeling good about your purchase? As we delve further into the future, it's hard to ignore the rise of wipes. Yes, moist towelettes that have become an alternative to traditional toilet paper for many. These wipes, often advertised as more hygienic and more thorough than paper alone, have caught on in recent years, particularly with the younger crowd. But while these wipes may offer a cleaner feeling, they come with their own set of environmental problems. Many wet wipes, despite being labeled as flushable, can clog plumbing systems, wreak havoc on water treatment plants, and contribute to environmental pollution. The debate is ongoing. Are wipes the future of bathroom hygiene, or are they a trendy solution to a problem we didn't know we had? Historians still argue whether wipes are truly superior to toilet paper, or if they're just a passing trend, much like the luxury toilet paper that has swept across the Western world. Will the future demand more sustainable wet wipes, or will we see them fade out in favor of something entirely new? Could this be the beginning of an entirely new bathroom ritual, where paper, whether traditional or innovative, becomes obsolete altogether? As we continue to explore the future of toilet paper, we begin to encounter the strange but undeniable reality that toilet paper, as a product, may soon evolve into something even more unconventional. We've seen the rise of eco-friendly materials, luxury rolls, and biodegradable wipes. But what about the potential for technology to completely overhaul our bathroom routines? As we've seen in other areas of home innovation, technology has the potential to make our everyday tasks more efficient and perhaps even more sanitary. The question arises, can toilet paper itself, as we know it, be replaced by something better, more hygienic, or more futuristic? One possibility that has already been implemented in several countries, particularly in Japan, is the high-tech bidet. Imagine a bathroom fixture that doesn't just clean you, but offers a whole experience. These bidets can heat the seat, adjust water pressure, offer a gentle drying function, and even include a built-in deodorizer. They are controlled with a remote, and some models even have massaging features. Now, we're no longer talking about toilet paper in the traditional sense. We're talking about a fully integrated bathroom system designed to take hygiene to the next level, all with the touch of a button. It's important to note that bidets are already quite common in many parts of the world, particularly in Asia and Europe. However, their usage hasn't fully caught on in places like the United States, largely due to cultural habits and the initial cost of installation. Despite that, more and more Americans are beginning to embrace bidets, especially with the advent of affordable, easy-to-install bidet attachments that can be added to existing toilets. As more people discover the benefits of using a bidet, such as reduced toilet paper usage and a potentially cleaner, more hygienic experience, it's likely that the bidet will become more widely adopted in Western countries. Historians and experts are still debating whether the bidet will eventually become the standard in North America and elsewhere. Could toilet paper, as we know it, eventually be relegated to the past, replaced by water-based cleaning systems that offer a more thorough, environmentally friendly, and hygienic solution? Could this be the ultimate demise of the paper roll, or will we always return to the simplicity and convenience of good old toilet paper as modern bathrooms evolve? One thing's for sure, The future of hygiene is as much about water as it is about paper. But bidets are only part of the equation. In the age of smart homes and personal technology, could we see even more innovations that make bathroom hygiene more efficient and comfortable? Think about self-cleaning toilets, which already exist in some advanced models. These toilets automatically sanitize themselves after each use, using advanced cleaning solutions and UV light. It's a tiny step from here to the idea of a fully automated bathroom system that handles everything for you. No more need for toilet paper or wipes at all. Of course, this kind of technology is still in its infancy in terms of widespread adoption. There's a significant price barrier for high-tech toilets, and many people still enjoy the traditional process of using toilet paper. But as the conversation about sustainability continues to grow, we might find that technology doesn't just make our bathrooms more convenient. It might save a lot of trees, water, and energy in the process. Could we even reach a point where technology and eco-friendly habits converge, creating a bathroom experience that doesn't require paper at all? It's a wild thought, but not completely out of reach. And as we've seen with toilet paper alternatives, like reusable wipes or sustainable cloth options, there's no telling what kind of innovations will emerge in the coming years. The conversation around personal hygiene is rapidly changing, and it seems that people are more willing than ever to embrace new ideas. But whether technology or a blend of technology and sustainability will replace toilet paper, as we know, it remains to be seen. Let's step back from futuristic tech for a moment and look at the luxury toilet paper market, which has been quietly evolving alongside the sustainability efforts. As we enter the 21st century, the concept of luxury toilet